Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, we've got a few new things today, new graphics as we come back into the show. We've also got a new analyst with us. This is Forceful Tanner. This is you. This is your moment to shine. Welcome to the desk with us.
Hey, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Hey man, how you doing? How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. That game was watched a bit of a dumpster fire, if I have to say, with the first game there, but
Let him know. Talk to him.
I'm sorry. Like that's a 4v5. That was brutal. That was
One
brutal.
might say a doozy, I believe, is the safe for work word you could use for that. But let's talk about this next game coming up. We are talking about West Garfield Park taking on Gaimin Gladiators. Now, these are two teams. They're both sitting now at 8th and 9th respectively. Gaimin Gladiators has played a few less games, so that kind of factors into their points. But Forceful, we're going to start with West Garfield Park. And this is a team that didn't start off too hot, but they're on a bit of an upswing right now.
Yeah, I mean, West Garfield Park, they've been showing the last Playday that we need to be taking them seriously. They've been showing up every day. You've got players like Snake. I didn't even know who Snake was before this stage started, and he's like a player that every time he plays, he demands your attention. You need to be paying attention to what he's doing. And then you've got other players. You got the veteran leadership of Bio. You've got Barring, who just dropped 17 kills in the last game. I mean, West Garfield Park are on the upswing, and this game I think is going to be one of the most defining games I think for their whole stage. If they're going to be able to win this game, I think you could see them jettison up the top of the standings by the end of the stage.
It almost feels weird now looking over towards Gaimin Gladiators, that we're looking at the 8th and 9th teams, because it doesn't feel like that. Gaimin Gladiators is an impressive team as well, Cookies.
Yeah, it's just they've had some hiccup losses mixed in there. Of course, the Oculix one kind of sticks out, but it's a team, as Parker McKay had said. I think it's a super team personally. They've got ex-pros in there, Beastly and Quartz. They've got the upcoming Gunners and Sykes, and arguably Arrow's kind of had his come up over the past 6, 7, 8 months. And of course, Sykes as well. I mean, it's just like this team is talented on paper, and on paper, they should be just raffle stomping people. They should be contenders. They have an argument towards that, as anyone else would. But Jolton especially stuck out as like someone who's had a resurgence. I've talked about it many times in the past on KCP, the guy on support. That wasn't his chakra. That wasn't his astrology sign. He's much better as a flex, as a fragger. You see those entries, the guy is flying in, he's hopping in on people, and that's where he belongs. That's what he needs to be doing. But I'll talk about it more in the critical points. He needs a little bit of help.
You will talk about it more, won't you? So we'll start off with these critical points, Tanner. West Garfield Park, as we said, this is a team that's looking better. They are doing things right now.
Yeah, I definitely think the role change that they had last week definitely sent them in the right direction. Putting Bio back on the role that he's been comfortable on. He's played his whole career on. He gets more situational awareness. He can see what's going on around him. And now he's just letting, his shooters shoot. You see Barring popping off last game. Snake's getting a little bit more support, especially from the drone work. And it's definitely, showing up on the stat sheet that they're able to put up those numbers. But the big thing that I'm really concerned about when I'm paying attention to this game is tempo. Gaimin Gladiators is a team that just loves to control the pace of the game. They're going to be in your face. They're going to be aggressive. And if you look at West Garfield Park's history this stage, when they play teams like Aerial Arise, ATK, those are also teams that love to get in their face. And if you go look at the results from both those games, West Garfield Park hasn't really been able to match the tempo. What I'm looking for is they're going to be able to attack those drones, disrupt the process, make sure that, GG isn't able to get set up the way they want to get set up. And I think if they could do that, I think West Garfield Park just might be able to pull this out.
As we said, Cookies, small sample size looking towards Gaimin Gladiators now. They are coming off of a loss, but it was a deep run overtime loss. So it hasn't been terrible for them. They've been racking up points in most of their games.
Yeah, that they also have the least amount of, games played among teams right now, especially among the contending teams. So there actually is still kind of a little bit of testing that we have to find out, them a little bit of a litmus test we have to go through with them. But I will say, and what we've seen, Quartz has kind of gotten outshined by, I talked about how good Jolton's been, hopping in, flying in on people. Sykes had a good game where he was flying in with Jolton. And it just seems like Quartz doesn't necessarily, and I'm open for an argument here, Forceful. I'm open for it. Quartz maybe potentially swapping with Arrow. Arrow's been looking really good defensively, unlike a Jaeger role, whatnot. Maybe if Quartz swaps with Arrow on the fragging roll and attack, because Quartz is struggling really badly. I'm not at the stats in front of you right now, but the guy's like 1 in 9 in the entry right now. It's atrocious. Is it worth the role change for us or what?
I don't think so. I think, you got to stick with what you're comfortable in. I know Courts might not be having, the best, stat line right now, but that really doesn't really matter at the end of the day. As long as he's doing those extra fundamentals, which,
Mhm.
I've coached Courts. I know he's got that in him. He's good comms. He's good at shot calling. He can see plays. And, when you're dead, you see everything, right? So he can call these plays for his teammates and really help enable them. And then, maybe Arrow and Jolton are doing better because Courts is dying so often and being able to give him those shot calls.
Yeah. One thing you stressed, Tanner, was that tempo, tempo, tempo. As we move into our map veto, what are the tempo, tempo, tempo maps that they might be looking for?
Well, I think for sure that Gaming Gladiators, they need to basically go to a map that provides them that space. They're able to get their information, get quick access. I'm looking for maps like Bank, especially because you can see, West Garfield Park has struggled on that. Other maps that they've been, showing up on, maps like Clubhouse, which you can see, West Garfield Park banning here, would have been a map that I think would have been particularly strong for them to make sure they're getting set up. But, as you go through the bans, you can see Clubhouse and Bank being banned. It's kind of narrowing it down. I wonder if we're going to get a border. A border between these maps would be so much fun. I'm glad Oregon's out. I'm glad Clubhouse is out. Those are, equalizer maps. We've seen them so much at this point. I'm really hoping for a border. We'll see Chalet. That would have been a great map for Gaming Gladiators to go to, which again, probably why West Garfield Park banned it. And then boom, you're going to Villa. Again, this is a map that, like, if you're playing aggressively and you're, it's can be really difficult to get yourself established. I'm actually looking for this game to be kind of won and lost on the roam. If West Garfield Park can, meet the aggression of the early attack from Gaming Gladiators, I definitely see, this game maybe tilting in their favor a little.
Mhm. Now we do have to give out a shout out to Crow from last game. He was able to take the L for the team so that the rest of us could succeed, we could win. Now, this is something I chose West Garfield Park, I'll be honest. I stole notes here. I was on board with Cookies. I was looking at his notes and I was like, that, you know what? That's a good pick. So for Cookies, do you think that they are going to bring that tempo?
You're about to be disappointed with what I'm about to say. I'm switching my vote.
No.
I like this map.
No.
I actually like this map for the Gladiators.
I'm going to fail the test. I'm going to fail.
Of
I was
course
looking
you will.
over.
Rim, that's why you don't copy.
Oh,
That's why you
man.
don't copy. All right. So I'm going to change my answers. I'm going to erase them. Okay. I like Gaming Gladiators. I think I just cooked Quartz up, right? But I think defensively they're strong. I think West Garfield Park still has some kinks to iron out. I expect Barney's going to crouch walk around the basement and do all that kind of stuff. It's very predictable sometimes what he does. I've seen an FPL Queens. He might show a little bit more of that today. And if he does, I feel like Gaming Gladiator is going to be ready for it. Right?
I don't know. I feel like if Bio is able to stick to his role and make sure he's droning in his entries and giving them that info, I think West Garfield Park could definitely still take it.
No, you don't.
I
You didn't vote for him. Did you?
I appreciate that. He did not vote for them, but you know what? The last time this happened,
I think I did.
and I was the single one out, I won it.
Oh, you.
And you all look like a bunch of dummies. So let's find out what's going to happen right now. We're going to get right into this match. We're going to throw it to Lynx. We're going to throw it to Fellow. West Garfield Park going to Villa to take on Gaimin Gladiators.
Be honest, Jim, you ain't taking this one. Like, I don't want to be mean, but it's just it ain't happening. I mean, not that. Listen, I think that, and John, as you and I are both talking about, West Garfield Park and Gaming Gladiators both have been on the upward swing in the past week.
Yep.
They've definitely looked a lot better last weekend than they did, say, during the first week. However, just because both these teams are looking better doesn't mean that they're on the same playing field. I think Gaming Gladiators might have a little bit better history when it comes to those games, and a lot closer one as well.
And also in terms of general improvement, I think that Gaming Gladiators have improved much more in comparison to West Garfield. Although we are in a comfort pick for, I would assume, more of West Garfield Villa, it's a map that everyone kind of knows at this point. Big emphasis on the roam game. It's a gigantic map. And West Garfield, they might be trying to play into that strength. A nomad ban, although common, it is something that can help enable that roam game I was just mentioning.
Certainly could. Gaming Gladiators will start out with a Thatcher ban for them. This is, I believe, what they played Villa once before. It was a 7-3 against Outlast, by the way. In case you did not do your homework for the test today, I believe it was a Thatcher ban that they had, and a Wamai as well. So sticking with that trend that they have gone with in the past, if I am correct in that regard. So we'll see if West Garfield decide to stick with their tried and true bans. Taking down that Nomad, probably. Yep, as I was about to say. See a Valkyrie taken down in response. So definitely trying to take a lot of the tools out of the arsenal of anybody on their own.
Well, we'll see what site West Garfield want to go for on round number 1. I would assume Aviator. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. You can still have the best of both worlds, where you can have that very long and methodical roam game, and also still have a bunch of utility to play for the lurk game, and also just a general site presence, especially both as a Tachanka and Smoke. You can have Smoke play on the middle of main stairs by about 30 to 40 plus seconds with both the shield and ADSs, not just his smokes, and then have the Tachanka actually play in the back of bar just to stop a default plant happening in through Skull Doorway. And especially if you have that roam game, either waste a lot of time near Master or playing near the first floor to stop a more main and direct push, and also find a kill. I mean, that's just more power to you for the defense.
Yeah. It's the benefit about this setup. You don't need to roam too much because you can waste like the entire round's worth of time just by sitting on the site. Now, of course, it does make you a little bit predictable. Say, especially if Gaimin Gladiators want to go for that main stairs clear. You know the smoke's going to be sitting there, John. You know that Tachanka is going to be playing behind long bar. You can pretty effectively use some nades or even some intel if you want to try to take a gunfight against one to deal with the players in those positions because, well, sitting over by main, you pretty much know about where they're going to be sitting. See what Gaimin Gladiators opt to go for. Could start over by main, could go for full clear. Seems like they're starting out over on the southern side right now, so they'll be contending with Barring and Valor pretty early on.
Well, having no hard breach could maybe have a more main push, especially with the fact we have 3 sets of grenades. It would make a lot of sense to want to get that early aggression and try to kill people via the vertical, but not expecting Rudy inside a living room. That does allow Sykes to fall. That's going to be the first kill, favoring West Garfield Park, as they've got plenty of positions out on that first floor, more or less expecting that kind of attempt to be done by Gaimin Gladiators, and now they have to already try to work some sort of equalization kill, and they're down 1 less set, and now 2 less sets of grenade, as Bias catches Jolton, and now it's a 5-on-3.
All right. John, I'll be honest, I don't even know how to break that one down. I don't even know where those kills came from. I know Rudy was over by bottom main stairs early. So that's probably what that one was. Jolton, though? No idea. What I do know, that's 2 of your 3 sets of nades gone. So remember how earlier I was like, oh, you know, they know where Valor's going to be. Could be in Vault, like that position. They know where Barring's going to be. He's going to be on main. Well, like the primary piece of utility you used to clear out Valor and Barring, you now have all but lost them save for 1. And it appears that they will try to use it to take down that shield sitting on main. But now that it's gone, Barring is like, okay, I can just sit comfortably right now. I'm chilling.
All that burn to waste through. Looking fine so far for West Garfield. They could even give up that position in main stairs and still be fine because they've got the advantage, and they'll do just that. It's a very comfortable place to sit. Now the site, Arrow, does a little bit of damage to Rudy, but does not get that kill. But because there are no grenades, playing in the middle of the objective room, it's going to be a complete safety net for West Garfield, and they still have tons of utility in that Tachanka, and even an Nitrocell in the pocket of Rudy as well, so if need be, he can toss that out and potentially find a kill in this final minute.
Potentially E1Ds from Arrow as well. Trying to make pushing up the stairs a little bit easier. Right now, we're really just waiting for Gaimin to hopefully burn the rest of this utility. Maybe pray that Valor is a little bit liberal with the Shamika grenades. Quartz will push in just a little bit, take some preemptive shots, in case anybody happens to be in the angles he checks, but nobody is. West Garfield playing this very disciplined, very safe. Which is exactly how you want to do this when you have the 3v5 and you know the attack has to push that site. And the Shamiki grenades going out. C4 wasted as well. So in terms of utility, Gaimin Gladiators not looking terrible. Bio gets another kill onto Arrow. Quartz has worked his way in. He's got the only 2 kills for Gaimin so far. He's not in the bad position to get 3, but Rudy behind Longbar takes him down pretty effectively once Quartz finds himself in the middle of 3 separate crossfires. Nice shot by Beastly on the Yana of all operators. And he's made it in with the diffuser too. But now he's got to be careful. Got to fall off, probably play for some of these kills, but Valor pretty easily takes him down once he realizes the Yana's position. First round goes to West Garfield, and wow. What a case of great aggression and then not getting too ahead of yourselves for the mid to late round.
General lack of intel for Gaimin Gladiators, that is what kind of costed them a lot of early life, and what West Garfield did, falling back, giving up main eventually, playing for the site, it did allow them to have better crossfires, have better trades, and that's all you need in a 5 versus 3 position. So not overstaying their welcome near main was the best call. And because it was a 5-on-3, you're not going to expect somebody to want to fully rotate in that middle floor, which could still have someone in that late roam position, maybe going on a flank. You don't want to have somebody go play top of red to kill anybody's skull because it's just a very high risk and even a low reward position because, again, that trade game is still going to be phenomenal for West Garfield. So they have really little to no options for Gaimin Gladiators besides just to funnel in and hope they can kill more than one person at a time.
Oof. Some rough pings on the board right there. But, okay, I was about to say, let's see if we'll take a timeout, maybe change the servers. Don't think we will for the moment. Seems like it might be in order. Of course, it also requires a rehost to be called, so just hold out for the time being. Appears that everyone is fine. Nobody's DC'd like Splash, so we're chilling, at least at the moment. Hold on. Are they doing a closet hold, or are they just open up or rotate? No, I don't think they're holding closet. Okay. I have to say, John, I got a little bit scared for a second because closet holds don't really end well, especially with a Capital on the board. That'd be a bit worrisome.
Yeah, having no Amai definitely helps enable Quartz to basically just halt anyone from sitting in a certain spot unless they want to just die. So not a bad option to bring him out on the board, especially in the current LMG meta, although he's rocking the Para and not the M24. Still a good gun to have nonetheless, if that is your cup of tea. But Gaimin Gladiators still wanting to go and take Master. Not gonna have to worry about that closet extension, but still a ton of utility, not only with these Syria gates, but also probably some ADSs and castle barricades to help prolong the inevitable push leading into Master and furthermore in towards Asher on the site. But also these kill holds as well, which are gonna probably slow down getting this triple wall opened up properly to actually allow a plant, or at least a position to go in for a plant later in the round.
Joan goes to open up that castle barricade. There is one on the opposite side, though. They're down the floor by just a little bit. One down below for West Garfield right now, so fortunately, don't see Jolton take much advantage of that angle beyond opening up the castle barricade. We also haven't seen them really make much progress beyond that masturbator balcony. As you said, they have the kill hole, or West Garfield have the kill holes made in the bottom of that closet wall. Also still have plenty of players who could play aggressive. Barring pushed up in bathroom, Twist playing up on bricks to try to get another kill early on, like we saw that West Garfield get in the round prior, to make these things a little bit more difficult for Gaimin Gladiators to work with. And I mean, over half the round wasted, though now 2 kills suddenly fly in the favor of Gaimin Gladiators. Not Barring, who's playing up at bathroom aggressively, but Twist, the player on bricks, and Rudy with the C4 both fall pretty much simultaneously.
And we're beginning to see that rotation happen for Gaimin Gladiators, at least droning out to see if anyone's playing on this first floor. So they're not just all funneling in through Master, a good call to make. And having this 5-on-3, they can be a little more lenient on their general positioning. But looks like this was going in for the basics, getting control of Astro, going in for those line scanners, tons of information, and now forcing West Garfield at a standstill, puts themselves down to 5-on-2.
Barring trying to go for the retake, but Quartz has accounted for this. He's watching the flank, or not really, actually. He's looking at the Finca. He's checking out his teammate right now and lets the smoke flank completely for free up Astro stairs. Might been a bit of an awkward angle on that rappel, I will say, but that's still an opportunity for West Garfield Park to even the odds just a little bit more. Still need a lot more work done, but that's 1 kill closer to equilibrium than you were just a few seconds before. EE1D goes out. That'll freeze Bio and Barring for the time being. Give Beastly full recognition of the player playing behind Deer. Somebody's taking up the angle on Ashbro window now. Hopefully they're watching the stairs, unlike Quartz last time. Yes, they are. Barring's got to be careful, unfortunately falls prey to Quartz. First round for Gaimin Gladiators, and even though we had that mishap on Astro Stairs, beyond that, and beyond the stall early on, fairly clean one.
It did take a rather long time before they eventually
Very
worked
slow
the
burn.
floor lower. Yes, it was incredibly slow, but it worked out. I mean, they were in the right positions to go and guarantee those kills. They had tons of information. They were utilizing a lot of drone work, and still had enough accomplished, at least in terms of getting those kills, to kind of just do what they want in the final 40 seconds. They stopped the C4 play from happening by Rudy. They slowed down the early aggression. It was as if they were waiting for West Garfield Park to get kind of antsy and make that first move, and eventually they finally bit the bullet, literally and figuratively, and it gave Gaimin Gladiators a very winnable position that West Garfield just did not look like they could claw back from, even after the flank almost worked out completely for Barring.
West Garfield will try out trophy statuary again. See some changes. Mostly in that not going for kill holes on closet anymore. Don't believe they're fully reinforcing it, but still adding an extra panel to it. I'll see Valor move to the Cade. Fully reinforcing that triple panel, whereas before they had a hole made open to the left panel. Will make it that much harder, just a little bit more, to open up this triple panel. Which then again, Gaimin Gladiators didn't really need to get those first 3 kills because they were able to spot a couple players playing aggro on the top floor fairly early on, or 1 player up above, 1 player down below. Hopefully we'll see Rudy be able to have a bit more impact this round if he wants to play vertical with that C4.
Let's go over the same play again. One thing to maybe have change up for Gaimin Gladiators, though, is just that early game momentum, because if they weren't as successful in finding those opening kills, then we could have seen a totally different round. But again, they droned out, gathered tons of information. They were fully set up into going into those last couple of gunfights, even the line scanners as well. I mean, everything just worked out beautifully for them. So I mean, I guess the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But things really could have turned completely different, especially if we had even Rudy not fall, able to utilize that nitro cell, find some sort of refrag, and then you have to worry about both the bottom, or pardon, middle and top floor. That would have been a total headache for Gaimin Gladiators.
Court spotting a lot of players on that singular drone. Rudy coming up from down below, Malusi of Bio coming down from up above, but both playing around that Astro Brown Stairs area. Not much that Gaimin can really do with that information right now. They have some players down below, I do believe. I think maybe 1 or 2 playing inside of Memorial, but still primary focus being just sitting on this balcony. And again, it's worked out before. They got 2 kills last time, but it does still mean they're spending a hell of a lot of time just probing and waiting for something to happen. And with this Cade in their way on the triple panel right now, that's a lot more difficult to do. Though Jolton will finally enter on in, go to work to put a frag grenade over that wall, but it's still with Rudy down below. His C4 still in play. It could fall once they try to open this up.
Seems rather far away, though. More or less be
There
a
it
late
is.
round
It's
C4. but
Valor.
No, it was pre-placed by Valor, out of all people. The double opening for West Garfield, and it looks like the full bait actually works out here for the defense rather than it be the other way around. Not too sure if the K-Claw has been destroyed yet, so we might not even see the hard destruction be a factor in this round. But with a minute to go, the tables have completely turned, and instead it's this 5 versus 2, not favoring Gaimin Gladiators anymore. And now it's a 5-on-1. Beastly, the only one to stand, has to get aggressive in the middle of the site and just get shut down by Barring, holding a long angle behind the Astro desk.
I really thought Rudy's C4 would be the most impactful, but no, Valor just tosses it up on over that reinforcement, lands right at the feet of the attack, and bam, there it goes. Again, the nice thing for Gaimin Gladiators last round was they were probing, they were waiting to try and get an opportunity to get an opening, and it ended up working. They didn't only get 1, they got 2 as well. A lot more confident moving into the site and the rest of the clear after that. This time, they do the same thing, but West Garfield don't give them that opportunity. They don't have anybody playing aggressive inside a bathroom. They don't have Twist playing aggressively on bricks. And thankfully, nobody takes care of Rudy this time. Now, of course, that doesn't necessarily matter as much because it wasn't any of those players that got the C4 kill. It was Valor, but it still goes to show that when West Garfield pulled themselves back, did not give Gaimin Gladiators the opportunity to get 1-2 kills on the board, the attack struggled to really get much done and ended up falling right into the hands of the C4 of the defense.
Let's hope that Gaimin Gladiators' early intel game is as good as it was in round 2 and 3, because round 1, they ran in the first 4 blindly and immediately were put in a 5 versus 3, lost basically all their grenades, and then that turned matter of fact after I believe the Ayana just wasted them and couldn't find any kills on that. So if we have the exact same play just unfold with Gaimin Gladiators just kind of rushing in through that first floor, because again, it looks like they'll do the exact same strat, with 3 sets of grenades, no hard breach, so it's almost a given they want to clear out through main lobby most likely. If they just don't do their due diligence on the intel game, they could be met with not only gunfire, but also those Capcan traps, because Rudy is rocking that Russian operator.
That was another issue they had. I believe by half the round left, they only had 4 drones remaining, so do want to be careful how you manage that drone economy going forward. Unless maybe last down was a fluke. Perhaps they'll be a little bit more careful where they place them. No hard breach on Aviator Games is a little worrying. Sure, this site isn't exactly known for hard breaching, but being able to having the ability to open up positions like Vault Wall, or even opening up a small hole on Bar Games Wall, it's still something nice, an angle that you can work with that without bringing one just closes you off from a lot of potential options, especially if you have your nade operators fall early on, like we saw Gaimin Gladiators happen to them all the way back in round number 1. This time, they haven't used the nades yet, but they're in a position to use them, which is a lot better than they were previously, so hopefully we'll see them maybe get 1-2 kills, or even just work players out of positions, which was something that was completely foreclosed in round 1.
Doesn't seem like we're going to have Gaimin Gladiators lose that advantage early on just yet. They are actually granted the option to go and play with these grenades and maybe find something for their troubles. I mean, if they can kill Valor, it's a lot of stall potential off the board, and that would potentially force Barring to maybe weaken his general position near main stairs. He might have to make the call if he wants to fall back early, only waste a little bit of utility. But the first nade by Jolton, it's actually going to be a dud. Beastly goes for one, tossed out two, and that one's not going to miss, or pardon, connect either. That one will miss, and same thing for Nitro Cell. All the explosivity right now is just not favoring either the attacking side or the defense, and a wooden railing catches the smoke grenade, forcing the smoke to actually play in his own fumes, but Barring still wins that engagement, and West Garfield now take the lead.
That actually might have ended up helping Barring a little bit, kind of disorienting Sykes, not fully seeing where the smoke was. So funny how accidents can sometimes go to benefit you. He'll choke out 10 more seconds, though, with a third and actually well-placed smoke canister. Not just winning off luck that time. With the Shmika grenades in Valor's pocket as well, if Gaimin Gladiators still want to take main stairs, still not free. Still something they'll have to fight through utility, and it's looking like it might be a rotate to try to deal with. See Arrow already head over towards Master Bedroom side. He's got some flashes, maybe to clear out red stairs or to push in through Skull Door afterwards. 2 EE1Ds as well. This is where the intel's got to come in that you mentioned earlier, John. Whether or not they've done their due diligence and they have actually cleared out some of these positions might not matter as much as, well, Bio takes down one, and the Jaeger, who was playing on red, now pulls all the way back inside of the site. They know that Gaimin Gladiators only have 20 seconds left. No point giving them any kills when Gaimin Gladiators can barely even get into the site with the time they have remaining. Twist prone on the map's table right now, almost catches one moving back into 90. Instead, Barring pushing all the way up, who finds nobody. Nobody sitting outside the Skull Door. They've all moved over to Book's hallway, but as one falls, it's looking like a flawless round for West Garfield Park in everything but name, as the only kill they lose is Bio in an impactless death.
And once again, they had a fantastic hold out in main stairs. The balcony player could not do anything. The Zofia was basically just impactless on that round for a good chunk of time. And Barring as well, just not having his position known all that well by the Fink, I believe it to be, it did allow the first kill to once again favor West Garfield. At that point, Gaimin Gladiators, they had to fully change up how they wanted to play that round. Everybody rotated around and through both red, the bore window, and that just allowed all those positions being held near study, being held as well also near main / bookshelf hallway. It completely strengthened that tenfold, and they still had a good site presence. Again, the Chonk on the board, Nitro Cells in pocket. I mean, everything was in use there by West Garfield, basically giving no way out for Gaimin Gladiators, and it forced them to take another loss on their attacks.
Good timeout by Gaimin Gladiators as well, because, John, I think you can agree, something is just not clicking. And I don't mean that like, oh, they've lost, 3 rounds now. Clearly something's not working. Like, obviously you can tell that. But based on the way they're playing, it just looks like they get to their initial positions. They know where to start. It's Trophy, it's Master Balk, it's Aviator Games, it's bottom main inside a library. And they can even still use some of that utility. Throw it onto players in the site, or try to at least. Throw it onto main, or try to at least. But when it comes to actually taking those positions or getting something worthwhile off of that utility or off of that movement, Gaimin Gladiators either struggle to move, or when they move, they put the wrong foot forward. They end up stumbling. Here, moving to Kitchen is a good opportunity to try to get a win on the board. Jolton actually has an opportunity to use that sledgehammer instead of just bringing him for the L85 and the nades. He can go up above, get some of that vertical, make players like Valor or Barring, who are sure to be on the site, make it a lot more difficult to, 1, exist, but 2, and more importantly, use those C4s. We'll also see Gaimin Gladiators throw a Nook into the mix. We'll see if they end up switching it out. Still got about 10 seconds until it's confirmed. We could see Quartz get a little sneaky in either the early or the late round to make things a little bit more better to deal with.
I'm not too sure if Gaimin Gladiators want to still opt for this full top to bottom clear,
Yeah,
because
Mira
I feel
changes
like with both
things.
Nook and now a Ying, I feel like that would maybe enforce them to want to have more of a rush kind of style. If not, go for more of a horizontal take rather than play for that full vertical. Yeah, especially now that it's the Ying pick off of the sledge. Yeah, they're going to go for a full-fledged rush. I had a feeling that would happen because of Quartz on the Nook, and you can still go for the hard breach just near Laundry and maybe Memo instead of the top floor hatches. And yeah, that's exactly what we're going to see. It's just only a matter of time before they make that final call, apparently, Carter.
Yeah, they're not heading in just yet, but everyone quickly encircles around Laundry and Pantry. Quartz also looking to vault in very soon. There's a barricade in his way if he goes up those stairs, so he's got to be careful with that. If he fires at FMG9, it will reveal his position, so likely waiting for some time. Oh, he'll fire some shots, and now the defense certainly knows that somebody is playing inside of Pantry right now. Maybe they didn't hear. Who knows? Sometimes sound can slip by easily, but Quartz is in his position. We'll have to wait for the opening, and there, they get it. Gaimin Gladiators, the one time they've won a round was when they got that first kill, when they got that opening, and they have it here. Now they send it on in, and Beastly does too, as nades and Candelas all fly into the site. Beastly creeps on in, puts the bomb down, and will not do so successfully. Twist with that vertical angle, playing up above, ends up cutting down the man with the diffuser. There's an EE1D as everyone on the map stays stationary for the time being, but West Garfield Park very effectively just slapped down Gaimin Gladiators' entry into the site.
And now with the rush not working, they have to once again completely change up their style, perhaps, or just general positions. We've got Quartz falling a little bit farther back, maybe fully rotating to hop up near China, perhaps. And we've got Arrow as well, still playing near Laundry. But again, with this vertical coverage, someone's got to act quite aggressively, either go for that nade, which isn't even a possibility because Quartz has no frags left in his back pocket, or just outright brute force it. But even then, that hasn't worked to begin with. Tons of intel being gathered. Lion goes for the swing. The Kaid can evade it for the time being, though. Arrow has to full commit, spots at the back of Barring, and now we're in that 2 versus 2. But again, the top floor pressure, it needs to be dealt with.
Quartz knows there's somebody up there. Twist took down Beastly earlier as Quartz goes for the peek and the pre-fire. It lands. Twist crouches right into it. And now they can spring the trap. Or not necessarily the trap, but spring their impromptu go-to plan. Bio actually, the attack now has control of the mirror window, and he's taking shots through the wall. He'll go for the peek and the pre-fire, and it does land on Arrow, almost onto Quartz too. But one of these players is at full HP, and the other is at 1, and Bio unfortunately has the burden of being the one bullet away from death. Gaimin Gladiators stumble on the entry into the site, but they close out the round in the end.
And although the vertical was a bit of a pain, at least we still knew for Gaimin Gladiators there was one spot they had to guard, because for West Garfield, they don't want to give up the case that easily, especially no one's pushing them directly on that top floor. But Quartz just winning that 1-for-1. It did slowly allow Gaimin Gladiators to retake that lead. 2 versus 1. They still had a line scanner in pocket for the post plant, so eventually things died down, and they were able to still have tons of isolation in that department. I think if we only had just the Frost playing up a vertical, that would have been a much different situation. If we had someone proactively helping out the Kaid or calling for him to maybe fall back and play a bit more passive, that still could have been a win for West Garfield, especially since they had the man advantage. But because we had Barring full flashed, Arrow able to win that 1-for-1, and then Quartz hitting a nasty shot on the Frost up above, which was Twist, was still a win for Gaimin Gladiators.
Gaimin running the same setup right now, again with attacker repick. That could very well change. Could see Quartz and Jolton switch from the Nook and the Ying to something else. But if they stick it, John, I doubt that they'll go for the same play, especially after they saw how difficult it can be to make that work if you haven't at least contained or minimized the ability for the defense to play vertical, play for that upstairs. Rudy switching to the Vigil as well could also make it a bit more difficult to fully nail down anybody playing off-site. They're sticking with that Nook-Ying combo. See if they decide to have a different execution or implementation of it, though.
Well, I'm not even too sure if that's going to be matter of fact. Maybe they're just harping on the fact that West Garfield will be like, surely they won't rush twice in a row, right?
And to be fair,
here again, they'll
here's they
properly
won't.
clear us, right? That might be the thought process here for Gaimin Gladiators. But again, if we just see better team play in the first floor, it could still be a win for West Garfield, because again, we just saw heavy isolation, especially on Barring with that Kaid. So if we just have Valor be a bit more proactive and still have Twist with that amazing coverage on the top floor, this should still be a theoretical win for West Garfield. But I think Gaimin Gladiators don't want to immediately jump the gun, and they're actually joining up that top floor, so maybe someone's going to be actually on that task to go deal with Twist.
Yeah.
It might be Jolton to do that.
Yeah, we see Jolton on the Astro Repel, trying to cut things off, make the rotation for the defense a little bit more constrictive, a little bit more difficult. Also spot a shield playing on the Brick's doorway so they can reasonably assume that, hey, probably someone behind it. If I were to hedge a guess. Twist does cross successfully, though, so that Astro window, unfortunately, misses an opportunity for a man advantage right there. As Twist heads back down towards the site. There's still one up top. But Jolton, the first one to take damage in this round, just a little bit outside on that Astro Repel, but beyond that, foregoing everything on the top floor. They've all moved back down towards the site.
Got the adrenaline surges, though, so that little bit of damage not going to be too big of an issue. What could be a problem, though, is if Biles still wins that gunfight. Here comes a little bit of a power play, though. Beastly gets rid of the Kaid once again. No one's here to trade. There's the first kill, favoring Gaimin Gladiators. Now they can possibly open up that laundry wall if required, and as the Gantels come out to, I believe, clear out this top floor, it's not going to work out all that well. Arrow gets shut down, and now things are equalized.
Yeah, that was the player you left up top on Master Balcony to try to deal with the players playing those vertical holes. Now that they're gone, Twist and Bio, though only now Twist can deal with this pretty well. Rudy and Quartz both get one on the board, but Beastly might be able to get the bomb down successfully. Yes, he does, as Sykes very nicely takes down 2 with the LMG. Twist has to drop down, forgo the vert, go for the horizontal, and all he gets by going is 1 kill for his troubles. 3v3, or 3-3 for both Gaimin Gladiators and West Garfield Park, as Gaimin recover after after the timeout.
Well, and we still had Gaimin Gladiators able to take the gunfights that favored them the most. They slightly adapted, applying a bit more pressure on that top floor, and we didn't have any vert established because of that pressure, I suppose. Maybe West Garfield were anticipating more than just Arrow to be on the roam clear duty. I mean, but only having that line, still killing him outright, we could have definitely seen more aggression on that top floor, although we did eventually have Gaimin Gladiators try to late rotate. But by then, we still could have had tons of damage being dealt in on that first floor, and then it would have been just only up to that top floor presence to have to actually get that round still as a win for Gaimin Gladiators. But it looks like West Garfield just played into the strengths of Gaimin Gladiators to, like you mentioned, now equalize going in the second half.
See how Gaimin's defense is fair, as they're running with a pretty similar logic to how West Garfield were, though no smoke this time. Instead, just keeping with that Tachanka. Jolton bringing the Maestro instead, so you're trading out some maybe time wasted with instead some intel gained with that Evil Eye. Also maybe the ability to have some post-plant utility with the Evil Eye inside of the site instead of just, throwing a smoke canister around the corner as a response, or perhaps just something that West Garfield thought of. They'll go with the Flores, and while there aren't a lot of shields, there is only one from Beastly. Those two Evil Eyes, the BP from Sykes as well. Plenty of opportunities to both destroy utility with the Rotero drones, and even just putting one on main, push the Malusi back, make her play uncomfortably.
Once again, no hard breach here, so I would assume we would have still that exact same going to study Balk push. And like you mentioned,
kind of have to.
With there being a Flores, yeah, I mean, like you said, with there being a Flores on the board, it's going to make this clear and through main probably incredibly fast, and then it would just focus only on the site presence itself. Not as many grenades as we saw by Gaimin Gladiators, but still a bunch of soft destruction. You could even have Barring actually play for Vert and just open up a couple of kill holes, or in general just break util through the floor and still be very impactful for this round. West Garfield just setting themselves up in the most pristine condition that they can be in right now, and since we don't have anyone really roaming in on that first floor too directly, it is going to be free real estate for West Garfield in the first minute.
Yeah, they get about to where Gaimin Gladiators could on their attack, move inside a library, start laying down those nades, but that's where we saw problems arise for Gaimin Gladiators when they were attacking. Moving forward or getting anything from that positioning, that was really a bit too problematic for them. West Garfield might fare a little bit different. They know there's somebody main, everybody's in position, waiting to start sending out those nades, even Beastly preemptively putting some Shumika grenades at the bottom of those stairs, saying, hey, don't push up, I'm watching, I know it's here. First Rotero drone, and actually, that's the last Rotero drone shot for Bio. I didn't even realize all of them are now gone. They've got to focus entirely on these nades between Valor and Rudy, which, to be fair, they have a lot of. But that does mean if you're not careful with clearing out this utility, you're going to waste a lot of those nades. And it appears they might be reconsidering now, though I'm not too sure.
Still tons of flashes, though. Nagon 6 and Valor, most likely. It's not completely over, but definitely just put a damper on the parade for West Garfield, probably expecting to get this main pressure established very early on so they could have a very seamless rotate across the map. Arrow still winning that first gunfight, Valor to fall, and with Tachanka still having plenty of coverage, things are really looking horrendous for West Garfield.
Yeah.
Now that Jolton kills Bio, this is still just not a great position to put yourself into, even after Twist finds one.
Whew, Arrow does lose that fight, unfortunately, against Barring. They'll cost a lot of damage. Ooh, nice shot by Twist, sniping Sykes on red stairs. Him and Barring can't exactly link up, but they have effectively nullified one lane of the map, moving into 90 Hall. Twist going huge in this round. That leaves things up to Jolton to try to seal out. He is aiming just above one player unknowingly right now, prone inside of 90. Twist may be waiting for Jolton to peek up, but he'll give up that angle. West Garfield finally start to move on in. They have, I don't believe, recovered the diffuser, but it doesn't matter if Twist is going huge. Very rough round for West Garfield on clearing out the main stairs, not gonna lie, but all Twist has to do, hit the back, push through 90, easy 4K to win.
They didn't just fully tunnel vision when things went south. They still had Twist probably pushing from, I believe it was Boar Window, because someone was actually playing on red. Got 90 control, and Gaimin Gladiators were just completely thrown off by that, apparently. Despite the fact they had a 5-on-3, they just got a little too overconfident, and Twist was more than capable of winning those gunfights, especially with backup by Barring as well. And they still had enough util to actually enter the site properly in that 2 versus 1 and not be too troubled by the Alda in the slightest. Heading into Trophy Room and Statuary, I could still imagine we see that big emphasis on the util game, but maybe with the foresight of now knowing that West Garfield aren't afraid to take those aggressive gunfights when they need to, they might play a bit more reserved here on this other top floor site.
That's something that anybody playing against this roster has got to be worried about. I know, typically when we talk about, maybe Twister barring, FPL Queens, even Rudy, FPL Queens sometimes gets brought up, and that was sort of their bread and butter, was 4 players all hitting one side, and then when the entire defense was focused, somebody could have been drip, could have been twist, could have been barring. It would usually hit the back and try to get a couple kills as everyone was distracted. This is a classic play for about 3/5 of this roster, and the other 2/5, say like Valor, for example, can very easily fall into that play style. He's played on teams like Aqualix, where, let's be honest, fluidity is not exactly something that they're afraid of. So that's something that Gaimin Gladiators on their defenses need to be worried about when playing West Garfield, especially if they end up getting the man advantage, because they can't take it for granted, because, like you said, John, Twist can do things like that.
Rudy opting for the Blackbeard, huh?
Not the pick I expected.
It's not the pick I would expect either. At least he's got stuns, though,
He's
to
on
help
Astro,
with the
right?
ADSs. But what was that?
He's on Astro, right? Yeah, he's on Astro
Yeah,
window. I was
okay.
like, if he's playing any other position, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, this does make the most sense. You can just sit here the whole round and still have impact, especially when you want to go for a master take. It is very important to have those cutoff angles, whether it be on the window or someone eventually walking up Astro's stairs. So not a bad spot at all for West Garfield. Only thing I would be a little upset about is because of having Rudy here off the bat. That does lead to a lot less utility to burn through those ADSs and maybe break those evil eyes, so that allows your nade players to not be as open, especially when it is just Valor rocking those frags.
Yeah, it's kind of like in finite math. You learn when calculating probabilities. No, you do like 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. But if something is a static variable, instead of 5, you replace it with 1. That's kind of like what this lineup is. You know that Rudy is going to be hard in that position, and that makes it a little bit less flexible to do with, whether in terms of utility, like you mentioned, or just trying to pinch out players, take down players. Just, by playing the man advantage. Here, though, they haven't had a whole lot of need for too much burn, as they've been able to take down at least one section of that reinforcement and open it up with those X-Kairos. So now, moving in through bathroom, are likely going to face a little bit more pressure, but oh no, somebody didn't do their droning inside of Astro, as Jolton peeks his head out, gets the opening pick.
And although Rudy can have this cutoff, can't really apply any immediate pressure, especially if there is still someone on the stairwell. It doesn't have to immediately engage. Same with the person behind the blue boxes. So because that lack of intel, like you mentioned, Carter, it's going to be that 5 versus 3 favoring Gaimin Gladiators. Only 50 more seconds to hold. There is an entryway leading into sight through the triple wall, but with so many angles watching in through that singular opening, it looks like we could still have this be one for Gaimin Gladiators as long as they win these next couple of gunfights.
Beastly especially watching the bricks doorway and the breach with that Alda. He's got Quartz behind him as well, and what do you know? Quartz anticipated very play that Twist did last time, playing the back, coming on in. Bit of a lag right there for me. Don't know if that was for you, but what comes through? Still Gaimin Gladiators not in the lead, but in the disadvantage. West Garfield make it work, even with Rudy, effectively not an NPC, but inactive on that rappel. He's now moved into bathroom and can cover Bio as he gets the bomb down. Sykes moves on in. Oh no, he's not in position. Nobody's watching in time. There goes the head. Pop goes the weasel for Bio. And now Rudy's playing catch up. Where is he? Oh, the shield just barely saves him. Might have picked Blackbeard for the rappel, but in the end, in an unexpected way, the shield ends up winning West Garfield for what could have been a shoddy plant coverage.
And despite, the util game not working out all that great for West Garfield and the early game to look a little bit rough around the edges, they still got their basic job done. They opened up triple wall to go in for that default plant, even though the coverage was non-existent there for a moment. And we still eventually had that set of refrags. We had Gaimin Gladiators still not even being in a bad spot to contest those gunfights. They just simply lost the 50-50s. They had to go in for the swing, or else they would just give away too much control for West Garfield. And despite it being that 5v4 favoring them, it really was only a matter of time before we had, West Garfield just start holding in W and just aiming into their sights and not able to win all those gunfights there. Just, it was the final bell that told for Gaimin Gladiators in that top floor defense.
Yeah, my feed stuttered for like 2 seconds right as the execute hit, and I was like, oh, I don't know what's happening anymore. That was a little bit scary. We're all good now. We're chilling. Going to kitchen as well. We've actually, John, you and I personally, when Gaimin Gladiators was on Villa, casted this very lineup. We've seen them bring it out multiple times. Of course, it's not like anything wild. They've got a pulse on kitchen to watch from down below, use that heartbeat scanner. He can provide support to the vertical or see if anybody's pushing up brown. also play in tandem with Arrow and Quartz with those C4s. Same with Jolton, those C4s. So many secondary utility, explosive secondary utility for Gaimin Gladiators. Definitely see and hope they can get some impact out of it, like they've been able to do sometimes, but not always successfully.
Well, still able to gather tons of heartbeat detections here, so not bad at all for Gaimin Gladiators. And I would assume for West Garfield, they would probably want to at some point want to clear out that top floor presence. They have tons of breaching charges, also having Rudy on the sledge. It's not a requirement, but probably not the worst idea, especially when they don't immediately push in through main to want to push in through living room. Trying to break that Banshee device. It's not going to connect properly, though, with the grenade, so it's going to remain on top of things, able to gather some late round information if someone eventually hops in through that single window. But eventually, we see that push in through the top floor. We've got the barricades being opened on up. Twist can now go and drone out freely, but still having to worry about Beastly, along with tons of other Nitro cells on the board for Gaimin Gladiators. Definitely something to keep in the back of your mind as you work your way on that top floor.
It's even opened up some of the walls, but what? Barring is just inside a memorial. Okay, he's dead now. Wow, getting very aggressive the Ash was, but since nobody cleared out library, or Barring might not have even known that Jolt was in library, loses his life and, well, gives the advantage to Gaimin Gladiators. Almost a 3v5 as well, but Valor just very narrowly escapes death. One bullet away. Just one more. Had it landed in his body, he'd been off the board 3v5. Survives for a little bit more with those adrenal surges, can get himself back up a little bit higher. Bit of a late rotate, maybe not a late rotate, but a very quick one as Rudy moves in through bathroom to try to get this vertical. Gotta be careful though, because there are still some players on this top floor.
The intel game has been rather weak by West Garfield in the past, so they might not be aware both Sykes and Arrow are still in this top floor. Eventually though, we'll have the drone game begin to pop in through, but they do not check the back of trophy room. Twist thinks better of it, but
All right.
okay.
Unlucky.
Rudy just blows himself up. 5 versus 3. The drone destroyed as well, so nobody is expecting Arrow or Sykes on that top floor. And as we see this linear push go down and through, another explosion goes off. This time a Nitro Cell. 5 versus 2. Bio not able to win his gunfight next to Pantry, and he ends up getting taken down by the shotgun. Jolt gets the final kill of the round, and Gaimin Gladiators hold on in that dining room site.
Yeah, that was the best from West Garfield Park, unfortunately. Obviously, Rudy killed himself with a nade. Unlucky. That happens. But it always seemed like, and I think, John, you put it well, it seemed like the intel was maybe not lacking, but just one step behind from where it should. Not necessarily that, they didn't have enough drones on the field, but it always seemed like they might have been getting a little bit too ahead of themselves. Barring pushing up into Memorial, yeah, nobody was in there, but Jolton had an angle watching it in case anybody pushed up aggressively and shot him down. Rudy ends up dying to a nade, but then you just have Beastly on the opposite side of a reinforcement in Laundry, get a C4 kill, and he's been there the entire round. And fortunately, Valor can't shoot it in time, and it lands perfectly at his feet. Overall, from West Garfield, they have the lead, so they can still, get some rounds, especially on Aviator games, where they're able to win it out with some help from Twist. But not the best example of an round on this half. Definitely the weakest they've looked so far in that one.
They did take a very long time to clear out main, which they technically didn't even do properly because it was just Twist going on a solo play, hopping in through, I believe it'd be Boar window. Now rocking the Zofia, I could imagine him to not only be more proactive in the early round, but also if he goes for the exact same play, he'll have a slightly better gun because all that ammo in the LMG, not a bad thing to have as well. So we could again just see that fallback to heavy aggression, especially in the late round here by West Garfield. But if they do not fix their intel game, which is the basis of their problems right now in the second half, it's going to be Gaimin Gladiators to probably punish them at some point in the round.
And also, as we saw on the trophy round, you had Quartz playing on top of Red, who was fully aware that Twist might jump in through Boar window and try to hit the back on the site and hit him with a flank. He was fully aware of that. Here, now Quartz is a bit of an off position, so he might not be the one to do it this time, as he's over on Astro, and there's 2 players in Library and 2 players outside of Bedroom as well, so he's in a bit of a tricky situation at the moment that I don't know how he'll work himself out of. Even if it's not Quartz, Gaimin Gladiators are clearly aware that that is West Garfield's strategy if things start going awry, or once they get to the late round. We'll see if West Garfield are still able to get a couple kills early on, as both Sykes and Quartz are still playing over by Trophy Statuary, and West Garfield, they're slowly moving in. On this clear.
They detect both roamers, but don't do much about it. I think they even were having the cutoffs being slowly formulated, and they gather intel once again on someone walking in through a red hall. But again, no one's here at the right place up until now. Valor could maybe find this first kill for West Garfield. Quartz has the info as well. Goes for an impact play. Nice little audio bait. Valor now looks the wrong way at the perfect moment for Quartz. A great play for the Melusi. And now they can prop right back up at the top of main and still put themselves 5 versus 4 faving Gaimin Gladiators. All the roam game has been technically dealt with. They are still down in the deficit and don't have much to show right now, Carter.
That's the oldest trick in the book, John. I mean, impact the wall, peek the other way. That's like, I saw that in like a Serenity video all the way back in like 2015 Siege. Or whenever Impacts came out. I guess 2016 is when Impacts came out. So all the way back in 2016. That's how long it's been in the game. Nades finally finding their impact, especially for Rudy, redeeming himself from last one round. Takes down an important operator as well. You might have lost those nades in that Gone for Valor, but losing the ability to fully control those Evil Eyes, or at least losing the Alda to shut down anybody moving on in, gonna feel a lot better once you move forward. You do still have the Shamika grenades from Beastly to worry about, so you might have taken down the Alda, but if Beastly's able to play with impunity and effectively nullify anybody pushing in or playing on that skull doorway, looking difficult for West Garfield to move on in. Bio's inside at 90 right now, so they can play a couple different options. They've opened up Vault as well, so that's a good rotation avenue shut down for the attack from the defense. Barring will now instead push on him, but he plays right into the Aruni's crosshairs. Sykes fully anticipating that, but they do take down the Tachanka. That's the important part. Now Twist can cover Bio. He's the only one who can do it, as Rudy falls, almost lands a nutty pre-fire onto Arrow, but not long for this world, unfortunately. Bio in the 1v3 picks up one and can't land the second on the pre-fire. Despite doing about half HP in damage, is still gaming with the defuse and an even round count between these two teams.
And then once again, it forced major uncomfort there for the attacking side of West Garfield. I mean, we had Beastly stopping both the hunting walk-in through the wall and also the true default plant. We had to see Bio actually plant near the bomb chassis, which allowed a lot of vulnerability actually just for the flank. Although it was being guarded, there wasn't really any information. Again, the drone game just not being all that strong by West Garfield. It did allow Quartz to just kind of have a slight peeker's advantage there, outduel the Melusi. Bio now has to worry about 2 separate angles as his other teammate falls in that 3 versus 3. And then things just kind of fell apart 110%, not even just to the full 90 or 100 that we saw once the plant had immediately gone down. Gaimin Gladiators not only having a ton of early presence with that roam game, but also still having that util emphasis on a side like Aviator. It was just really the magic trick that forced West Garfield in, again, a bad spot and not many options even during the post plant.
There was still a problem here on Trophy as well. Jolton pretty much just played back. Didn't have to do anything crazy. He's able to get the first kill onto Barring. 2 rounds in a row, actually. Both Trophy and Kitchen. Able to play back, get that kill. And overall, it wasn't really a heavy roam by Gaimin Gladiators, you know, coming back to the nest, taking down everybody as they move in. They were just playing the site. They were just waiting for them to push in through the breach, push in through bricks, and pretty effectively dealt with it. And even then, West Garfield Park almost lost the round in a 1v2, but because Rudy was on Blackbeard, just ended up tanking a headshot and still winning it. So it wasn't exactly a strong round from West Garfield, as still seemed like they almost let it slip away from them in the end.
And theoretically, if the timing was better, still having on Blackbeard would be fine because, again, flashbangs, he was burning the ADS at one point if we had somebody proactive with the grenades. And again, the intel game, because nobody knew there was someone playing in the back of Asher because there's no shield to indicate that, that could have been a very smooth round for West Garfield, and it wouldn't have had to have come down to a 1 versus 1 with nobody watching Bio stick that plant. So there's definitely more options here for West Garfield to improve their matchup, although things have gotten completely equalized now 5-5. And it looks like they'll try to go more for a direct approach on that first floor. They want to immediately deal with Arrow. That way they can have a bigger emphasis on that master take once they rotate a floor higher.
I don't think that's a bad decision at all, especially how Astro can sometimes trip up some attacking teams as they push on in if they haven't cleared it properly, or if they just try to clear it out very late in the game. You can sometimes take a heads-up fight with the player on the stairs and they end up losing it, and that just throws the whole take out of whack. I think this could be a good decision. Even if they don't really focus on Arrow and they still take the time to nade below these walls, it's still something good and a dimension that was really missing from West Garfield the last time when they tried to take this site. Almost nails Sykes through the floor, but only does a little bit of damage, but most importantly, takes down that Electroclaw on the wall. But Quartz, he's got a second in his pocket. He just put it there. Might be able to cage trick successfully if it lands. I'm not sure if it does, though. Yes, it does, but 1x Cairo still goes off in the left panel, so still a little bit restrictive for Sykes.
Not too sure. We do still have somebody on West Garfield playing in that first floor, Valor might have to step up to the plate to try to pressure out Arrow, but those ADSs have most likely been reset, if even tampered with, so it's going to come down to, once again, that timing factor and the coordination by West Garfield in this final minute to kill Arrow and then still go for that plant. There's no opening leading in the site. There's the opening kill, but they have to funnel most likely in through brick doorway, and Arrow is still being a menace here in the middle of Astro Stairs, finally dealt with, but this is still very doable for Gaimin Gladiators, despite the fact they're currently in a 4v3.
Yeah, going 1-for-1 there, big. If Arrow's able to get that two-piece round, probably not done for West Garfield, but it's a lot more difficult with Astro control in the hands of the defense. Now Rudy can push up there, Barring can hold on bricks, and give Bio a lot of different options for where he wants to push in to get this bomb down. They'll stake their claim on Astro, but Quartz cuts down one, though Barring quick with the trade, quick with the double onto Sykes, quick with a 3K as he pushes in through bricks door, gets West Garfield match point.
And having that bigger emphasis on dealing with Arrow, a much better sight for them indeed, and still having the ability to play for grenades as well. That guaranteed the 5-on-4, and then Barring was able to go on the hero play because there were just not enough people watching for both a master entryway, especially with triple wall not being opened up. It wasn't as big of a giveaway that some would late rotate into statue doorway, and also still have to worry about everyone just bombarding themselves heading in through Astro Stairs and also the Astro doorway from bathroom as well. So a good heads-up play by Barring to completely guarantee match point, but a lot of these rounds have still been rather neck and neck. That was probably one of the more one-sided affairs we have seen in this second half, Carter, and heading into dining room now, this was a win by Gaimin Gladiators, just simply off the fact that West Garfield, again, they just kept making the same mistakes over and over again. Lack of intel and lack of proper positioning to either play for trades or just be in a good spot to win the 1-for-1 in general.
Now they got to go down to kitchen, which I say got to go down. This still was a fairly strong round for them, though it seemed a lot just on West Garfield making a lot of mistakes or not really having, not a clear plan, but just kind of letting things get a bit too foggy. Just making some decisions that were a little questionable, like Barring pushing in through Memorial when there's still a player holding the very doorway he was peeking from Library that he wasn't even aware of, giving the opening to Gaimin. Then, yeah, you know, Rudy nades himself, but like, that's whatever, that happens. I'm not going to analyze that one. Still, West Garfield kind of just a little bit of sloppy play. Now they're on match point, can't really afford that. But if we see them maybe be able to take that horizontal a little bit more clearly, put a bit more attention on Jolton playing inside of Living, I think it could be a very good round.
Seems like we'll have more of a horizontal idea by West Garfield that doesn't just revolve around entering in through laundry room. It could be proven wrong. Thought they would have more pressure into main, but I guess I was incorrect on that judgment there. There goes a nade. Almost kills Beastly, but he actually is too far away for it to really deal any major damage so far. So no initial kill just yet, and still tons of intel to be utilized, or tons of actual gadgets to gather that information for Gaimin Gladiators. And only now do we see West Garfield potentially tampering with that top floor. A bunch of damage being dealt by Twist on towards Sykes, but none to confirm a kill.
It takes a lot of damage through that wall, though. He knows that somebody's playing outside of Boar right now. He'll cross, since, hey, you might have taken bullets through there, but the wall's still solid. Doesn't need to worry too much about rotating in a statue. C4 either goes over or under. Probably under, since Jolton was the one who threw it, but doesn't find much in the end, so no need speculating where it came from, since it went with a whimper. Arrow will take the initiative and rotate back down, but oh no, Twist from that position, and, well, you got Sykes, who hasn't really taken the initiative like Arrow did to head back down to the site.
Well, still a opening kill for West Garfield. They need to worry, of course, about Beasley still being alive, though, especially now towards the later end of this moment. Still tons of nitro cells to boot, and the extension has not been dealt with on the first floor by Gaimin Gladiators. So again, although it's a man advantage here for West Garfield, there is a lot in the playing field for Gaming to actually make sure they can equalize or at least stall out West Garfield enough where they can be in a prime position to make sure an execute completely fails.
We're just holding the C4 right now, playing inside a pantry, but the rest of the attack appears to be going from the other side. As Barring gets the second kill for West Garfield onto Arrow, taking down some important utility, but really it's the slow death right now for Gaimin Gladiators. The utility, not so much at the forefront. They've taken down Sykes, or they've lost Sykes. Now Gaimin have lost Arrow. And Beastly, he's got some important utility. Quartz, some important secondary utility. But they're starting to lose friends to depend upon and losing map control as well. Twist now moves on in for the kill, and Quartz's position could be the game changer here, especially now that Jolton's gone. It's the 1v5. Twist doesn't know he's there. He'll play it safe. He knows he's got a hope, but no! Twist turns on him! Wow, what a read by Twist! Just stuns Quartz completely. And West Garfield get a win they sorely needed in stage 1.
I believe it was the fact he heard the mute slowly crouch walking and just 180 flick killed him.
Wow.
But the pacing there by the side of West Garfield, it was fantastic. They took their time and they didn't overcomplicate anything. They had the man advantage, still played for Vert, and they were just whizzing past Nitro Cells like it was nobody's business as well. Having Barring still be a huge impact for West Garfield throughout the late end of that round. Having Twist do his job on top of that too. I mean, just everything went according to plan there. And it really seemed like Gaimin Gladiators, their late round coordination just seemed a bit off. Even the early game where we had Arrow fall back as the Mozzie, he didn't really wait for the Malusi to fully give up either. It was just oh yeah, I'm falling back by the way, you should make the same call. They didn't coordinate that as effectively as they should. And because of that, they bled a really huge opening duel there to almost guarantee West Garfield a match ending out in regulation, not OT.
Well, coming into this game, Gaimin Gladiators had a they had a tally in each category: 1 regulation win, 1 OT win, and through on down the line. But unfortunately here, they take a second one, but in the regulation loss. No points for them today, 3 points for West Garfield. We can go to the desk to talk about Brim being right in his predictions and the upset from West Garfield.
That's right, Carter. I believe Carter laughed at me as they went into this game. And who's smug now? Me. But no. A good thing I stole off your notes, Cookies. Because this actually worked out for me.
It didn't work out for me. I changed my vote. I was right. I had it, and then I switched to Gaimin Gladiator. But I mean, let's be honest, guys. It was a 7-5 game. You know, it could have went either way, right? I mean, everyone wins, right?
I don't think so.
Participation trophies, right?
Maybe,
Nope.
maybe we'll give you one of those.
I just want to say I have a 100% prediction right now. I'm gonna ride that all day.
You know what? Do you know what else you got right,
else I
Tanner?
get right?
I was about to say Connor. I'm so used to Connor. Tanner is your big thing going into this game was talking about the tempo that we would see. But one thing that we were talking about, or at least you mentioned to me as we were watching this, was West Garfield's ability to adjust their tempo at different times as the match went along.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what was happening, or the case for West Garfield Park. You saw like their drone work was really, really fast at the beginning of their attacks. And then you saw Gaimin Gladiators adjust to it, and they just slowed it down. They slowed the round down. They made sure that, you know, when Gaimin Gladiators is attacking their drones, you know, they're have someone to trade them, and they're taking the space they need. They're making sure they got info in front of them. There's no unknowns. That was really solid. And then on the flip side too, I talked about how important it is for West Garfield Park to like counter that aggression coming out from Gaimin Gladiators, and they did. You could see in their setups, like right off the rip, they're attacking drones, they're putting problems in front of them. Gaimin Gladiators was like executing onto site, sometimes with 3 to 2 drones. They had no information. You know, they're doing a Capitao impression, completely blind in one eye, no idea what's going on. And West Garfield Park, and kudos to the team and kudos to Bio, they took advantage of that, and they completely capitalized off the lack of info that Gaming had.
Now, getting into it, we have the interview ready. We're going to talk to Bio once again for West Garfield Park. This is kind of just becoming a regular thing now as West Garfield Park is just chugging along. Bio, congratulations on the win. I got to say, are you guys riding this wave of momentum now where you guys just seem to be improving? Is that something that you feel is happening with your team?
Well, since we couldn't play with Snake because of unfortunate circumstances, so I don't think we improved as like a team. But I think just putting people on like roles that they just feel comfortable on, that they can just play, I think helps a lot, obviously. So, yeah.
Now, you did get the W, so the results speak for themselves. But how was it with Rudy filling in?
Kind of hard because Rudy doesn't play the game anymore. So, actually, I need to say this. Guidance Gaming, you saw Joel tweeting about CL teams don't want to play new maps and this and that. They had the option to play a new map, and they didn't want to play it. So, but for Rudy, like, he doesn't know anything about the new map, so we couldn't play any of the new maps. So we had to ban him. So, but I mean, Rudy just has been playing Daisy, so he just had to knock off like a little rust. Like, he couldn't run any SMG-11 because he can't use that gun. So he just put him on a 1.5 and he just went crazy.
Well, it's glad that you speak so highly of him. I'm glad to hear that. Now, but we did get a look at the stats across the board. You guys all were pretty even. Are we looking at a team that everyone is equally relied upon in various moments?
The way I like to approach the game is more like a team basis. It's not like 3 people droning for 2 people to like get all the kills. It's more just like I try to make the game from my point of view like a team game, so everyone has like equal opportunities to contribute.
Well, it was definitely an exciting result. My personal vote, I mean, I did get the prediction win, the lone predictor. I guessed you guys. That was game of the day so far for me, but we do have other matches. Thank you so much, Bio. We'll chat soon.
Hey, have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, guys, Tanner, that was an exciting game. I think so much went on there.
Oh, 100%. That game was tooth and nail. You could see them fighting for everything. And when a game goes down to like that speed and the drone work and making sure that they're not being able to take any inch without being some sort of consequence, those are the games you just love to see. It's good fundamental siege, good reaction from both teams. That timeout, I know Gaimin Gladiators didn't do too well, but that timeout that they called, you could see them shift their tempo on the attacks. It was back and forth and back and forth. It was just a great game of siege.
Yeah, we love to see it. Now, that's 2 matches down. We have 3 more to go in the day. The next one after this quick break will be Aqualix taking on Took the Kids.